All right, usually we are kicking into the My Three Songs game right around now, but I think our guest is big enough and iconic enough that we'll push the game back a few minutes because Graham Nash is here, musician, activist, author, two-time Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and one of the only guys to play both Woodstock and Live Aid, and he's playing the Ridgefield Playhouse tonight. Welcome, Graham. We're so happy
Thank you.
to have
How are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Glad you're here. And you're a producer / guitarist, Shane Fontaine, joining us as well.
Yeah,
Hello.
Shane's over there.
Yeah.
First off, congratulations on the success of the new album, This Path Tonight. You got great reviews, you got good sales, your highest UK chart position in 45 years. You hit 7 different Billboard charts in the US alone. As an artist, that's got to be very gratifying to have people respond to your work that way.
It is, especially at this time in my life. I mean, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, you know. And to feel that I'm still creative and still touching people's hearts and minds is very gratifying as an artist, yes.
Well, your voice is instantly recognizable as soon as you start singing. Everybody knows it from all those great Hollies hits and CSN hits, and from Wasted on the Way to to Our House. To
We were Shane and I were rehearsing Carrie Ann on a carousel yesterday.
Nice.
Who knows?
It had been 14 years since your last solo album, and you've been busy with some other projects that we'll get to. But how recent are the songs on this album? Is this kind of a snapshot of where you are now, or is there 14 years of songwriting that went into
No. This was a project that happened very quickly and very fast and very well. Shane and I wrote 20 songs in a month. We took Christmas off and went into the studio at the beginning of 2015 and recorded those 20 songs in 8 days.
Wow.
So it was a very fast experience.
What fueled that burst of creativity?
Emotional changes that I was going through myself personally. I recently divorced my wife of 38 years. I fell in love with a beautiful artist from New York City. Her name is Amy Grantham, and my life changed completely. And so, the way I respond to my life is I write. And I kept writing all these lyrics, and Shane was putting them all to music, and we ended up with 20 songs that we love.
That's great. And 13 of them made 10, and then 3 for the bonus.
For the
version.
bonus, yeah. So we have 7 left that we like, and we're still writing, and I can tell you this, it won't be 14 years before the next Graham Nash record.
Well, that's good to know. So how did you hook up with Shane? Now, just for background for everybody, Shane was in Lone Justice and also very well known as Bruce Springsteen guitarist while the E Street Band was on hiatus. How did you guys get together?
Through our friend Mark Cohen.
Okay.
Mark is a brilliant writer, of course. He did Walking in Memphis and many others. Crosby and I had sung on a couple of songs with Mark on a couple of records of his, and he was doing a show at the El Rey Theatre in Los Angeles, and Mark asked me and David to go down and sing a couple of songs, which we did, and Shane was his lead guitar player. Now then, a couple of weeks later, me and Crosby were supposed to go to Europe, but our lead guitar player, Dean Parks, couldn't go. Shane learned about 30 songs in a couple of weeks.
Not bad.
No. So that's how we come to be making music with Shane.
And what did you bring to the album, Shane?
To this record?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
How did you approach things going into the?
Well, putting the band together was obviously, I mean, it was key and called on some close friends, and Graham made the whole thing very easy. It was all very easy. Organic is like an overused word, but it would be apt here, in the way that everything was assembled, everything was approached. It just had a flow to it. We were maybe lucky, fortunate, but everything flowed naturally and quickly.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean.
Yeah, it's 6 people in the same room,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
singing and playing the songs.
Sometimes those are the best. You can.
I think that's the best period. I mean, I've made records every single way you could possibly think of, but to me, and the second track on the record is called Myself at Last, and I knew that it was going to be a great experience because that track on the record is the first attempt at the first song we ever tried.
Okay. Well, I had Another Broken Heart all queued up. You want to play track 2 instead?
If you wish.
Okay. get back there, because folks listening to the station are already a little familiar with Another Broken Heart. So let's go with this one.
Try this one.
All right, here we go. The home of rock and roll on 95, and you're going, I know that voice. Unmistakably, Graham Nash. Graham is with us this afternoon and playing at the Ridgefield Playhouse tonight. Less than 50 tickets remain as of this morning. So 203-438-5795 to get your tickets so you don't miss out. Let's talk about the tour. You've been going since January with dates through October, including, of course, tonight at the Playhouse. How are you enjoying your year on the road?
I'm enjoying it tremendously. I get to do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Normally when you're in a band you have to compromise in many directions, but I don't have to compromise here. You know, and I've written a lot of music in my life, obviously. I've been in a couple of very interesting bands, and the music shows, you know, my life in music. I've actually been starting with Bus Stop by the Hollies,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, everything else after that.
Right. We were talking off the air. I had asked you if the response to the new songs had changed since the album came out, because you were touring for a couple of months before it had been released.
Right.
And no.
No, the response to the new songs have been amazing. And I understand when you sing Our House, you know, and you do it well and people get on their feet and clap, right? You know, great. But when you can do that and they've only heard a song once, that's pretty special.
Yeah, that really is. Without giving away too many surprises, I mean, you said you've been opening with Bus Stop, so we're going all the way back to the CSN stuff, the Holly stuff, overview
Everything
of the whole
in
career
between.
tonight.
Yeah, I've written a lot of music and I want to play it.
Do you work off a set list, or do you just let it rip?
We do have a skeleton of a set list, but we do chop and change depending on how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody will shout something out, you know, and Shane says, hey, we know that, we can do that.
My Sharona.
There we go. Over the last couple of years, you've done a couple of archival things, including your book Wild Tales. How was the writing process for a book different than writing for music, or was it?
It wasn't, it was just me talking,
Just
shooting off
talking.
my mouth.
And did some of the Wild Tales ruffle any feathers?
Yeah, I'm afraid they did.
Yeah. I had a feeling. There are some wild tales in the book. It was aptly named.
Indeed, it's been a crazy life.
The other archival project, which was just fantastic, was the Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young 1974 tour box set, which you pretty much did all by yourself. Is that correct?
I've done all of them by myself with Joel Bernstein and Stanley Johnson. We have a little team.
Mm-hmm.
And we did 16 CDs in the last 10 years.
How did that job fall on you?
It's a good question. I want things right. And sometimes the only time you can get it right is if you do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's basically what happens. And they, you know, David and Stephen and Neil trust me.
Mm-hmm.
They know I'm not messing around here.
Right.
I'm doing this for history, not for anybody in particular.
Well, that box set was just fantastic.
I think that it really proves that CSNY were an incredible rock and roll band.
Well, everything from the softest songs to the loudest songs.
Indeed.
It's all right there. So, a job well done, both on the tour and on the box set.
Thank you.
I was just at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago, and actually knowing you were coming in, spent a lot of time in the Graham Nash room. Was that? Did you have a lot of input into putting that together? Was that?
It was designed by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
What happened basically is I'd gone like a year earlier, and they had an exhibit of Paul Simon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting, you know. I mean, even though Paul's a friend, I learned a lot more about him from his exhibit, and I liked it. And they said, well, I'm glad you like it because you're next.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what? So anyway, you know, they wanted me to send stuff from my personal collection of
Mm-hmm.
crazy shit that I sell, that I own. And the first thing I sent them was Richard Nixon's resignation letter to Henry Kissinger.
Really? No
Mhm.
kidding. I did see that in there. It was just amazing to me, just all the different tentacles. You know, everything from the handwritten list of artists for Live Aid, the schedule that was pinned to the wall, to
That's
you
right.
know, some guitars from Buffalo Springfield, to you name
Yeah,
it.
I got Phil Everly's guitar in there. I got
Yeah.
Dwayne Allman's guitar.
Yeah, if you touched it in any way. So
I've been a lucky boy.
it was a neat room. That was my first trip out to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they were pretty much
I got an email from a friend yesterday and said there's a lot of Republicans watching that exhibit. Oh boy.
That brings me to my next and final question. Just one more reminder: Ridgefield Playhouse tonight. If you're thinking about going, get tickets quickly because there's only a couple left. Best thing to do. I think they probably even shut down the web sales. Of course, they're probably screaming at me. No, it's still up. But 203-438-5795. But with you coming in and the start of the Republican convention this week, I've been thinking a lot about the song I'm about to play, Chicago. Now, obviously, over the years, you've addressed many social and political concerns through music. How are you feeling about things these days? And I guess most importantly, do you still believe that music and the people that listen to music can change the world?
I do believe that they can change the world, absolutely. The smallest action by somebody can change the world. I have no doubt about it. I've been here more than half my life, and I've never seen the political scene so crazy. I've never seen it like this before. It seems like we've lost our manners. It seems like we've lost our decorum. It seems like I've never seen it like this. Shane and I have been around the world a couple of times in the last couple of years promoting this record. And we have seen an incredible rise in the right wing throughout Europe particularly. And I began to realize that, people in Europe think we're actually a little nuts, even considering somebody like Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that it's either him or Hillary, right?
Right.
I don't see much other choice.
On that note, we will and can change the world. I want to thank you so much for coming in today. It was such an honor and such a pleasure to spend a few minutes with you.
Thank you very much.
Ridgefield Playhouse tonight, 203-438-5795. Thank you again, Graham Nash. Thank you, Shane Fontaine, for coming in. And we'll see you tonight.